Hello, everyone. Welcome to Harris County Public Library's Camp NaNoWriMo. Today is our last virtual write-in that's just for adults. Don't worry though, we will have a write-in for all ages next Thursday, July 29th at 4 p.m. and we look forward to seeing you then. My name is Elizabeth and I'm the Assistant Manager in charge of adult programs at the Catherine Tyra Branch Library.
Hi, and I'm Molly. I'm the branch manager at the Crosby Library, and we're so excited to have you here with us today. We're going to be getting started soon with some prompts that will hopefully be a lot of fun and really get those creative juices flowing.
And as you write, you can either use a story you're already working on, or you can just try out the prompt that we give you with whatever pops into your head.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. So Camp NaNoWriMo is different from the regular NaNoWriMo, which is held in November, and that's National Novel Writing Month, where the goal is to write 50,000 words in 30 days. In July, Camp NaNoWriMo is all about making your own writing goals and setting aside time to write. So feel free to share with us in the comments. Let us know what you're working on. We'll talk about our projects as we're going along. And, you know, as we're doing our prompts, please make sure you share something with us. We'd love to see what you're doing. I'm working on, I'm kind of all over the place with my projects. I'm editing some but you know, the brain never stops. And so I've started writing something new, but I'm trying to focus on editing some of the stuff that I've already done. So that's what I've been working on this month. What about you, Elizabeth?
So I must confess, I am not as much of a writer as Molly here is, but I love encouraging writers. So I help out with our writing club at the Catherine Tyra Library. Our group is called Bear Creek Writes. So I love hearing what everybody's writing about. I love encouraging people to write. I like doing these Camp NaNoWriMo prompts, but I don't have a project or a book like you do, Molly. But I love doing it.
It's all right. We're glad that, you know, to have anyone, you don't have to be an author, or, you don't have to be like someone who just loves to write all the time. Kind of like I love to, it's kind of my obsession, but, anyone who just enjoys writing, this is a great opportunity. It's a great fun project to work on.
Absolutely. And, feel free as we go along to put in the comments what you're working on, and we'll share that out with everybody.
Yes. Yes. All right. So if we're ready, let's go ahead and get started on our first writing prompt. So the first one is inspired by Robert Frost's famous poem, Two Roads Diverge in a Wood. So which one does your character take? So think about that, explore that, write it out, and we'll see you in 7 minutes.
Hello, welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a lot of fun writing with that prompt. Two roads diverge in a wood. Which one does your character take? Welcome back, everyone. I hope I'm sorry, we're getting some echo there.
That's funny.
Well, we hope you had a lot of fun. We're excited to see what you came up with, which road your character took. So feel free to put in the comments, what did you write? How many words did you write? What kind of genre did you go with this one? I feel like there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Molly, did you get anything fun down?
Well, I started and took it quite literally of standing at a divergence in a road, which way to go, and trying to picture the map and what had the map told her. And finally, she decided to take the road that would take her on a more northerly path. But I'm like, I didn't like that. So I decided that perhaps my character she was in a situation where she needed to go into hiding, and she could either go one way or the other. Would she go into hiding with a group that would protect her by traveling away, or would she go with someone where she would be protected by staying in place? And I couldn't decide. But it was kind of fun to come up with the two ideas. So, yeah.
Very neat. And it looks like we have someone who's doing the write-in who has something to share. So I'll go ahead and read that out.
Okay.
But how could she pick between the two roads? What had her mother said? She stood 1 foot facing left and 1 foot facing right. She knew one led back to town, but the other? She couldn't remember the words on her mother's lips, yet she was racking her brain. The wind whipped her hair against her right cheek, and she felt her body lunge forward, slowly at first, then with quicker pace. She had not a clue whether or not this was the path home, yet felt compelled that this was the way she must go. Wow, that's good.
Yes, I like that. That was from Taylor. Thank you, Taylor.
Yeah.
We also have a comment from Elizabeth. She says, I'm using the writing time to work on a project that I'm already working on, but my main character would definitely take the road less traveled because she has a habit of going against the grain. And I like that. That's a character that we can really enjoy.
And we have another one from Selenia here. Tall, twisting trees arched overhead, blocking out the moonlight. He stepped forward, his horse following closely behind. He had taken many dark roads in his lifetime, but he knew this one would be different. And she says her character would definitely take a dark and scary road. That sounds like a fun book to read.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah, mine was kind of boring. I'm like, does she go left or right? And it really didn't make a difference, but I like when there's the road less traveled or the darker road that might pose more danger. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got some fun quotes in there. Thank y'all for sharing, and everybody keep them coming.
Yes.
I actually picked the safer road. I don't know. I always figure there's a reason everybody goes down it. It's got to be good, right? So I kind of was a little bit different, but it was fun to write with this prompt.
Yes. Yeah, it really was. That's a fun one. I couldn't decide. So
Yeah. Well, we have another fun one for everybody coming up. And in this one, we're going to use a photo as inspiration. So we have this really neat photograph on the screen for you. It's got 3 chairs in the middle of a field with some trees. And you get to come up with a story here and tell us what's going on in this picture, or use the image to set a scene for something that you're writing. So we look forward to seeing what you come up with this unique picture here in our next writing prompt.
yes, this is a really neat picture. Okay, so we will see you once again in 7 minutes. Have fun writing. Hello.
Hello, we're back. We're excited to hear what you wrote. So tell us what you wrote for this very eerie, interesting picture of some chairs in the woods. Share with us a sentence, share your word count, share what kind of setting this pulled up in your brain. We'd love to hear it all.
Yes. Yeah. So, Elizabeth, did you have something you came up with?
I did. I kind of, this image made me think of secret societies and old English colleges, probably because I just read The Maidens, which is set in Cambridge. So that's what it made me think of, is these secret societies making the freshmen lug out chairs into the middle of the wild for who knows what kind of weird ceremony.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I never did quite figure out what that was. But I'll read a little bit of what I wrote. Let's see. Eleanor had done some very impossible things today. First, she had run away from home, gotten on a train that had never been through her town's train depot before, listened to music sung by robots, and then hopped off a train in a land she never dreamed existed. She walked around and into a beautiful field of wildflowers. The tall trees with their white bark intrigued her. She had never lived anywhere where anything but dirt and shrubs. Actual grass and trees were beautiful. She walked deeper in, not thinking about not being able to find her way back, because at home she had always been able to see the water tower from the train depot. As she went in deeper, she came across the most curious sight, a small clearing with 3 chairs of the finest design and plush-looking cushions.
There you go. Well, it's a mystery.
Yes, I like that. I'm going to have to keep thinking about that one. It looks like we're getting quite a few comments.
I know. It's exciting. We have the first one from Elizabeth. She says, she wrote, she wonders about the people who lived in this house in its time of original splendor. Who could afford to hire cooks to staff their palatial kitchen and groundskeepers to tend the flower garden that has long since gone to seed? All that remains now is the perimeter. Low stone walls enclosing it on all 4 sides with small gaps in the middle to allow in visitors. Without flowers to hem in, the walls look like they're part of some ruin, haunted. Ooh, so she kind of used it to go off into an old house that's fallen into ruin. I like that.
I like that too. That's really good. Selenia says, yes, definitely something secretive is going on. So we have Callier Ray, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. The 3 chairs in the forest had switched places, but oddly enough, the chairs moved several times before. Every time the blue ones would be next to another, but then the last time the blue had moved. But the last time the blue one moved were not only, but the last time the blue ones were not by each other. I wonder why. Do you know?
Oh.
Let's see. It looks like there might be more. Let's see. Oddly enough, she saw them the first time she played in the sunshine-covered woods. They weren't quite in the formation they were now, but they were there. She was sure of it. As she tiptoed through the meadows, she could see where the flowers thinned and the trees grew tall. The chairs were just beyond. They were growing like roots from the ground in her view, till finally, there they were. She pranced around them in their circle, running her fringe.
I think it may have caught running her finger along them, maybe.
Okay, there you go. Very neat.
Something move in the chairs, add even more creepiness to it.
It does, and I love that she thought they might have like grown from the ground, that they were just such a part of the scene.
Yeah.
Very creepy.
Yeah. I like the kind of vibes that we're going. We have the dark path, first of all, and now the chairs in the woods. Who knows where they're coming from? We'll see what our next challenge is, see what we come up with, see if we can make it dark and creepy.
That'll be fun. So dark, creepy, angry, funny. Use this piece of dialogue in your writing. You infuriate me. So let's see how that goes. So
Good. We'll see you back in 7 minutes, everyone.
All right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm excited to see how you use "you infuriate me" in this prompt. Molly, what did you come up with today?
Okay. So mine is Ruby sighed. Where was she going to go? Her hair salon was destroyed and her home had been blown off the map. She hated tornadoes ever since she saw Wizard of Oz as a kid. Now she really hated them. Thor frowned. Ruby, just stay here with me. I can't. You've got to get a house of guests. There's nowhere for me to stay. There's room next to me, he grinned. Ruby threw up her hands. Honestly, Thor, you infuriate me. You know I can't do that. Some of my clients are staying here with you. Thor let out a laugh. She was fun to tease.
Very interesting. Are those characters that you've been working with?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could tell. I like it. You were able to use some characters you've already developed.
Yeah, they're the story that my brain hasn't been letting me rest with. And so that's what I've been writing lately instead of other things.
When your brain won't let it go, it's a good one.
That's right. That's right. What about you, Elizabeth?
I wrote something as well. You infuriate me, she screamed at the lock as she slammed down her tools, another one of the picks broken in her hand. She had to get her time to under 15 seconds or she wouldn't be able to go on the job. All her life, she had just wanted her dad to invite her to make a score with him, and now he was retiring. This was her last chance to prove she could take over the family business. So I kind of took it a different approach. So you're yelling at something, not someone.
Right. That's great. It's fun to think kind of outside the box there.
Yeah. And it looks like we had a good question come in. Someone said, do you have any tips for writing a good argument between characters?
Yes. And I kind of answered, and for me, writing arguments can be hard. I usually have one character that, because this is the way I am, I want an argument to end quickly. So I'll have a character kind of like just back off really fast. Mm-hmm. But I love it when there's good, strong characters because they both feel that they're right. And so I love it when they're strong enough to defend their point of view against the other. Mm-hmm. But either way, depending on the story, either way is kind of a good way to go.
And I did a little bit of Googling, I'll be honest, and I'm going to give credit to medium.com. It popped up in the Google search, and I thought I had some good tips for this. A few things I pulled out are know the result before you start writing the argument, know what's going to happen at the end of it, so you can kind of guide it along its path. Know what they're actually fighting about. I think we've all had that argument over something really stupid, and when you get down to the root of it, you're arguing about something really deep that's not really what you're arguing about. Doesn't sound like it's what you're arguing about. And then use short sentences. When we get angry, we don't tend to talk a lot. We tend to use really short sentences that are really emotional. So they said that's a good tip for writing arguments whenever you are working on your book or story.
Those are good. I really like those. Well, it looks like we had a few comments. This is from Taylor. 5 a.m. always came just too early. I have to agree. Every morning was the same. That annoying clock would blare its ugly sounds all over the room until he got out of bed. He had purposely put it across the room so snooze would no longer be an option. But really what was 10 extra minutes at 5 a.m., right? Dante slumped across the room, pressed the enormous letter snooze, and leapt back into his blankets. What felt like a few minutes later, a roar shook his bed frame. You infuriate me, Dante Antonio. How can you be so lazy? His grandmother shouted at him as she ripped the blankets from his legs like old Band-Aids. Lazy, lazy, get up, get up. It's nearly 7:30, she repeated. You missed the bus again. Dante rolled over to peek across the room. The red number blinked 7:30. Oh my goodness. I love that one.
Oh yeah, we've all been there. And looks like we have one from Kyler as well. One day at school, me and my friend Violet were getting into an argument because she wouldn't stop singing the Undertale theme song, so it got on my nerves. During the argument, I threatened our friendship and said, "You infuriate me." Me and her didn't talk much after that, but one day we made up and are BFFs again. The end. So we already have a nonfiction version, a true life story, it sounds like, of when somebody might say, "You infuriate me," but it had a good ending. And I like
Yes. I like that you wrote it, in the first person as
that.
well, that this is from your point of view,
Yeah.
not we're seeing it, like through a picture frame or something.
Mhm.
So it's more fun when it's
Mhm.
really personal.
More emotional that way during an argument.
Definitely. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. If you have any more comments, please throw them in. We'll read them when we get back from our next prompt.
Absolutely. And our next one asks you to use as many words as possible from this list. So you can use one of these words, you can use all of these words, but try to incorporate them into your writing. And the words are marathon, studio, morning, leaflet, and gold. So let's see how many words, and tell us in the chat after your writing, how many words were you able to use in your writing?
Okay. We'll see you in 7 minutes. Hello, welcome back.
Hi, thank you. It was fun to write, and I'm excited to see it. Looks like we already have a comment of what somebody was able to write with these words as inspiration.
Yes, this was a lot of fun.
So Molly, what were you able to write with these words?
Let's see, I ended up using, I think I used 4. Ruby's morning had not been what she was hoping for. The insurance called. There was another holdup, another problem. Wasn't there always? She sat down at the table and put her head in her hands. She saw her son's wedding announcement on the table, the gold letters inviting family and friends to join them in their celebration. Ruby sat up. Forget the insurance, forget the salon, forget the marathon of telephone calls she had been enduring. Today was about her son and his lovely fiance.
Very nice. I like it.
What about you?
Yeah, I kind of, and with creative punctuation, my goal was to get it all into one sentence, all
Oh
of the
my
words in
goodness.
one sentence. Like I said, I was able to do it, but I used some punctuation that was a little bit unconventional to get there.
All right.
Yeah, so here's what I wrote. Amber walked out of the yoga studio that morning, still sore after her weekend marathon, but something caught her eye before she could go much further. A leaflet lay on the ground, gold cursive writing filling the front page. It said, "Hello, Amber." So, with a little dash in there, I was able to get, I think, all of the words in one.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool start to something.
I'm curious where it would go.
Right? Absolutely. Someone from the Catherine Tyra Branch Library said leaflet just seems like such a fun word.
It is. It is a fun word.
It's the one I couldn't figure out how to fit in yet.
Yeah, it's a hard one, but I liked the challenge.
Yes.
And it looks like we have Elizabeth, another Elizabeth, who has something to share. The light filtered in gold through the high windows of the studio in the morning. Her muscles ached after dance practice like she had run a marathon, but there was nothing else like it. Nothing that made her feel so strong and alive. And hearty preparation was the only thing that saved off the nerves once the promotional leaflets went out for the spring ballet season. She wouldn't trade it for anything.
Oh, I like that.
Nice. I think you got all of them in there too. I see gold and marathon.
Studio, morning.
Studio, morning. There you go. You got all
And
of
leaflet.
them. That's awesome. Way to go. Well, thank you all for sharing what you were able to get in here. It sounds like these words were successfully incorporated, which is good. So it's a fun one. It kind of stretches my mind trying to fit them in.
Yes. Yeah, it kind of makes you move beyond what you normally have in your vocabulary.
Exactly. I like that. And I think we have time for just one more prompt, and it's a fun one to end on before we wrap up our virtual write-in today.
Yes. So we as librarians love the library. So set your next scene in the library. So we'll see you soon and see how it goes.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back.
Yes.
This
We're
was
so glad
fun.
you joined us. How did you do, Elizabeth?
I had fun with this one. So mine is actually inspired by a true library story, something that happened this past Saturday at the Catherine Tyra Library. Um, I was not there, but I put myself in the perspective and showed what I would have done, and then what actually happened. So I'll read the story and then tell you.
Okay.
The sound of a high-pitched shrill suddenly filled the morning quiet of the newly opened library. Everyone turned to see the normally calm librarian dancing on top of the chair, pointing and stuttering, Snake! There's a snake in the library! As the patrons watched wide-eyed and unmoving, another staff member swooped in with gloves and a bucket, slowly coaxing the harmless garden snake so it could be transported safely outside. Other duties as assigned, someone heard her cheerfully say as she passed by, bucket in hand. So that is based on a true story. There was a snake at the library on Saturday. I was not there. I would have been standing on a chair screaming. Thankfully, our manager was there. She was very brave with gloves and a bucket and got the snake out safely. So the story is inspired by a real life library event.
I love that. And I mean, your kudos to your manager for being so good about going in with that bucket. Oh my goodness, that is amazing.
What did you write about, Molly? Because I know you're at the library all the time too. You're a library expert, so I'm curious what you have going on in your library scene.
Well, mine, I kind of took it back as a character I've written, and this is more like a medieval time period. Joya had never seen a room like this before. She had heard of people whose trade it was to bind books, and she had seen someone working on bookbinding once. Impossibly thin pages made of goat's hides had been cut into rectangles and were being sewn together by a strong needle and a piece of sinew. But this was something she never could have imagined. Books, an entire room full of books. It's called a library, the man said, and I am the librarian. I watch over and protect all the books.
I like that. I like how you said it in a different era, thinking outside the box. That's
Yeah. And it looks like we have one comment. From Elizabeth. Do you want to read this one?
No, go ahead.
He came in every night, well past the most diligent procrastinators had already gone to sleep, and set up shop in a secluded quarter of the stacks. He hardly ever asked her or any of the other library staff any questions, but when he did, he always wanted to find text so eccentric and obscure that she didn't even know that they had them. She always wanted to ask what he was looking for, but it went against policy, so she stayed silent and curious.
Ooh, I want to know what he's searching for too.
Right? Oh. Yes.
Well, thank you everyone for sharing all of your wonderful and lovely writing with us. We've enjoyed stretching our writing brains by looking at these prompts, and we've enjoyed hearing everything that you've written throughout this time.
It's been a lot of fun. So yes, we just appreciate all of you being here with us today. So make sure to tune into our next Camp NaNoWriMo event just for adults. And this is going to be next Tuesday, a week from now. It's going to be an authorama featuring some of their Harris County Public Library authors. So join us next Tuesday at 7:00.
I'm excited for that one. We have some really awesome authors who are also librarians, so that one will be a lot of fun.
Yes.
And then don't forget, it is our summer reading program going on at the library, so make sure to go to hcpl.beanstalk.org to sign up for summer reading, where you can get prizes just for reading. And we do have prizes for adults. Everyone thinks it's for kids, but it's not. We have prizes for adults.
Yes.
So thank you all for joining us today. We've enjoyed seeing you, and we hope you all have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.